YouTube, what's going on? It's your boy TriniFX here, back with another trading recap. Today is Monday, and we had no news today. Coming into the market, I didn't really have a bias that I was fixed on, seeing that we were trading below the 50% equilibrium of the entire dealing range on a higher time frame. But I marked off my levels. And what I want to show you first, I graded this wick here. So I marked off the consequent encroachment of this wick. And if we, on a 4-hour chart, right? And if we drop to the 1-hour chart where we could see a little more detail, I also graded 50% of this SIBI. So this line here is 50% of the wick on the 4-hour, which basically is this candle. And this line here was 50% of this SIBI, right? So we had equilibrium, we had this level, ultimately. This was buy side here, and pre-market, this was buy side on Friday. So initially I came in thinking we could go bullish, but I had to see how the market and what the market gave me. So initially I had a bullish bias, but since we were below equilibrium, we could run for the low. So I marked off my fair value gap, bullish fair value gap here, and as we can see on market open, we saw Asia run higher, trade back down into this bullish fair value gap, respecting the consequent encroachment of the fair value gap. So that indicated to me, price wanted to go higher. Market open, New York local time. This is midnight, New York local time. Traded down, traded higher, and London traded higher for the remainder of the London session. So jumping into my 15-minute time frame, if we take a look and see what price actually gave us. So we could see 7:30 made a high, began to trade lower very casually, and at 9:30 I'm telling myself, okay, where's price more likely to trade to? Is it more likely to sell off or run higher into this fair value gap, trying to reach these levels here? So I marked off my 15-minute bullish fair value gap. If price were to go higher, I would have loved it to trade down and then give us a run higher. So on market open, price did trade down, taking out London low. This is a low made at 3 o'clock, tapping into this 15-minute bullish fair value gap. Once I saw that, I dropped to my 1-minute time frame to see if we could have framed an entry, and scrubbing across here, I took 2 trades today. This trade was on my live account and this one was on my funded account, so we'll get into both of them. So on market open, we see it trade down, taking out London low, dipping into this 15-minute bullish fair value gap, and price began to rally. Once it broke these highs and began to retrace, I took my fib out, marked off my dealing range on my 1-minute time frame, and I waited for price to trade lower, hopefully to get into a discount. This is my first presented fair value gap. So these are the things that I look for and I mark off as price trades. As this first fair value gap was formed, that's my first presented, so I mark it off. As price is trading lower, I'm seeing how price will react at this level. So we saw price inverse this bullish fair value gap and began to trade lower. When I saw that, I dropped to my 30-second chart to refine those candlesticks a little more, because every time frame tells a story. So as we could see, price traded higher, inversed the first presented fair value gap, and began to trade lower. Now on a 1-minute chart, we did not have this gap here. So if we look, we saw price rally up, rally down, 930, swept London lows, and began to displace higher. So when I'm seeing the structure on a 30-second chart, came down into this 30-second bullish fair value gap. Let me mark that off. I didn't have it marked off for you. All right, so once price hit there, now if price was indeed going to head lower for the morning, I would have liked to see price rip through this fair value gap. So it came down, found some resistance on the first presented. It should have just displaced. But what did price do? Hit this 1 hour, and then price started to go higher. So when I was looking at the candles, I'm seeing it finding some resistance respecting this first presented gap. When I saw price inverse that on a 30-second chart, I was waiting for this SIBI to also be inversed, because this also was a 1-minute SIBI. So we came down, rallied. On the close of that candle, that's where I took my long. But I want you to notice the candlesticks. We had this bullish candle, didn't break through. This next candle broke through and closed above the first presented fair value gap. Then we had this candle trade lower and close outside. So all those are signs telling me that price is finding some level of support at this first presented fair value gap, which is now an inversion fair value gap. So once price traded higher, it closed. What did it do? It inversed this bullish fair value gap, inversed this first presented, traded back lower, found support, and then it inversed this SIBI. So that's the technical science, and that's what I'm looking for on a micro level. So once price closed above, I put my stop loss right below the first presented fair value gap, and I was targeting initially the lower half of this 1 hour fair value gap. So as price hit it, traded lower. Once it took that high, I took the trade off the table. That was a quick 1.36 risk to reward, and I was okay, right? Because I had all my levels to go. If price wanted to run higher, so be it. We must always have a draw on liquidity. Price doesn't have to reach that draw for you to take your trade off the table. That is terminus, where you wanted price to go. But once you got your 1-to-1 or 1-to-2 risk to reward, whatever you're going for, close the trade or take partials. I opted to close my trade, and as you can see, price began to consolidate. It ran lower, ran higher, clearing this initial high. So then as I was, just monitoring the chart, we saw price begun to displace lower very aggressively. So I wasn't interested in anything here because I got my trade. However, when price inversed this first presented once more, and I saw it find some resistance at this level and traded lower, I wanted to see, okay, let's see if price could continue bearish. And what did we have lower? We had Asian lows. So it took London, and this is Asian low here. So it took buy side on a higher time frame, which was London high, traded into this 1 hour fair value gap, the lower quadrant of it, and began to displace with speed. You see these candles compared to these candles. So it was heading somewhere. So once it broke through there, traded higher, found some resistance, and began to trade lower. Remember, we're on a 30-second chart now. So I'm looking for a retracement into a 30-second SIBI to see if I can get an entry to go short. It was presented here. We saw it trade above. I was waiting on a confirmation entry. Price traded lower, closed below that candle. So as price traded back up into this SIBI, I went short, and I'll show you the execution. I actually recorded this execution live. I went short. I placed my stop above the candle that formed the initial SIBI. And initially I was targeting a 1 to 3. On the recording, you will see the execution. I just was monitoring how price was trading lower. I took some partials, I took another partial, and then eventually price traded in to the 15-minute fair value gap here. I got out right before it closed, and this netted a 1 to 4 risk to reward. Obviously, I took partials along the way. So this trade, I did not intend to take this trade, to be honest. This was the trade for the morning. When I saw the displacement, I got on my funded account and I wrote this down. Ultimately, if we go back up, price ultimately traded higher for the remainder of the day. So it ran down, took Asia low, traded into this 15-minute fair value gap, found some support, and price eventually took the targets that I initially marked off for the day. And we'll see if it can get above this buy side on top here. So guys, that was your recap for today. I hope you found some value. Consider subscribing if you haven't subscribed. Many of you guys watch the videos but are not subscribed. Consider subscribing so you could see exactly, when I post. Share this video and leave a comment. What trade, if you caught this trade, or if my trading recaps, you learn anything, I'd love to hear from you guys. So until we talk again tomorrow, stay safe. Bye-bye.